Then he starts saying how women are going to be all in his DMs, just trying to sleep with him. The way he was saying it wasn't like he was against it, right? Or like he was just gonna turn off his DMs or turn all these women away. He was just saying it like almost excited, like he can't wait. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Love is Blind Season 7, Episode 7. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. I have a bunch of cute handmade jewelry on the site, including my fall earring collection, so make sure you check that out. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. It's crazy. This season, I was really rooting for Tyler and Ashley. In case y'all have not heard the news about Tyler, I will link the video down in the comments letting y'all know that he is being exposed left and right on TikTok for already having kids. He, I guess, technically donated his sperm to a lesbian couple, but he has since been in those kids' lives and he owes child support. It was a custody battle. It was a lot going on with that, you guys. With that being said, I cannot look at this couple the same anymore, obviously. In fact, when I see him and the way he's acting and the fact that he still has not told this lady all the drama that he has going on in his life, it sickens me. She's completely 100% like invested in him and in this relationship, and just to know that it's all for nothing. She has done all of this for absolutely no reason, because this man has pretty much lied and deceived her. I mean, he'll say things like, you know, what will we do for the holidays when we have kids? Knowing you already have kids that exist. He talks about the holidays. He said that he cooked a big dinner for himself. Where were your kids? Where were the children on the holidays? And he talked about wanting to start a tradition of making Christmas tree ornaments. Have you already done that with your kids already? It's just really unfair, because if he were to have married her without telling her, he has this mountain of child support debt that she would have to take on as his wife as well. And I don't know, all of it is disgusting. He did all this praying and saying prayers and, you know, kind of almost weaponizing religion in order to love bomb her. And it's like, you're constantly, oh, let's pray. Every time we go to bed, are you praying for them kids? Are you praying these kids gonna forgive you for not telling this woman that they exist? Like, y'all, I can't even get into their story, because it's just this rain cloud hanging over them until it's exposed to her, until she has all of the information. Next, let's move on to Hannah and Nick. When we pick up from them, they have just had this argument over the whole Doug thing, as well as her writing this very passive aggressive note for him to find and going over all that. And when they come back together to make up or whatever, he says that he needs to work on listening. And she said that she needs to work on her attitude and the way that she speaks to him. Next, they went bungee jumping. That did not look fun. I don't care how much they said they had fun and how it was like it made their adrenaline rush or whatever. They did not look happy afterwards. He said that he would never do it again. And the only thing I could ever think of when I see people go bungee jumping, I think about that episode of The Fresh Prince where Hillary's fiance goes bungee jumping. The wire snaps and he's like, Hillary Banks, will you marry? That's all I can think of every time I think of bungee jumping, and that's why I would never do it. I would go skydiving before I went bungee jumping. They end up moving into their place, and she doesn't think that he will take the initiative to do things in the house without her asking, like taking out the trash. And you know, she says that she's more mature and intelligent than he is. Like, and she says these things in a very matter-of-fact way. I don't care if she laughs after she says them, but she's very condescending towards him. And he's a very good sport about it. Like, because she tries to pass these things off as jokes, but every joke has an element of truth, and you could tell she means what she's saying. You know, she just keeps talking about how she's been independent since an early age, and she's used to everything being her way or the highway. He kind of counters all of that by saying, well, how do you think this relationship will work if you think I'm incompetent? And I thought that was a very good response, because why are you with this man if you don't think that he is competent enough to be an adult? Do you just want a punching bag? And so she says, well, can you mount a TV? And busts out laughing when he said that he couldn't. It's like, okay. First of all, mounting a TV cannot be that hard. I'm sure he could watch a YouTube tutorial and learn how to do that. It's not like that's an unattainable skill. And just because he doesn't have it, it doesn't make him any less of a man. And like I said, he's being a very good sport. Like, there's so many things he could say about her, so much low-hanging fruit that he could reach from and throw back in her face, like tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. He really could. I really think he's sparing her because he might actually have feelings for her. I can't really tell. Either he really does have feelings for her, or he's playing his role to a T, knowing that this is being filmed. He doesn't want to get a bad edit, or he doesn't want to be looked at as a villain. I can't tell, because he is kind of, I don't know if I necessarily trust him either, but the way that she is treating him is making him look like an angel. So then we have Garrett and Taylor. It's funny because on this episode, she tells him that he needs to cut his beard. There was this girl on TikTok who pulled up recent pictures of him and how he's had like a glow up, which he has had a little bit of a glow up. I can't even lie. He looks a lot better now with the longer hair. It really could be Taylor fixing him up and telling him what to do with his hair, telling him how to dress. So she ends up meeting his family, and his family is just not with this process. They don't believe in it. They don't think that it's a good idea for him to be doing it. They don't understand why he's doing it. And her family pretty much feels the same way. They don't even want to be filmed. Well, her father doesn't even want to be filmed and doesn't want cameras to be in their house. So their people are kind of resistant to them doing this. They still want to meet him, and when his family meets her, they're impressed with her occupation, and they both say that they would not have met in any other way because he's always so busy, and he probably would have never approached her. You know, maybe he would be intimidated or something. The mother was in tears because she doesn't want to see her baby get hurt, and it's happening so fast and she doesn't understand. I feel like this is a very realistic reaction to your kid coming home saying, I met someone 10 days ago and I'm in love with them and we want to get married. I feel like this is one of the more realistic reactions, because a lot of times people are just accepted open arms, and you're going to have a little bit of questions. You're going to be a little bit concerned for your loved one. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to necessarily put a roadblock, but I do think they want him to think things through before he goes through with this, especially since this show does not have a great success rate. I do think it should be brought up that he has never dated someone outside of his race. So it did cross my mind, like, is that a problem for you too? Could it possibly be? I don't know. They're just having a hard time accepting that, and I think that's going to put a little bit of strain on their relationship. Then we have Marissa and Ramsy. She is sending this man dirty texts, walking through the door while he's cooking. It was so chaotic whenever she came home. Like, she has so much energy. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I just can't imagine living with someone who always has like this huge burst of energy every time they walk through the door. Like, sometimes I just want to chill, but Ramses loves it, and that's all that matters. It's funny because he was doing the cooking, and when they started eating them noodles, they were hard. She could not even hide the fact that them noodles were not good, and even when he tasted them, he was like, oh yeah, you're right. How long did you cook those noodles? Look, and I'm not even sitting up here acting like I'm the best cook. I have to time my stuff to make sure it's right. Turns out that she has a big commute from where they live now, and he's agreed to move closer to her schooling because she's in law school right now. She really appreciates that because that's going to really help her out. She hates that commute that they have currently. They start talking about the wedding and how she's happy that he's going to be involved with the wedding planning and things like that. But she starts talking about how she wants everyone that comes to the wedding to wear black, and she wants her and Ramsey's to wear white, which in theory, like, it probably sounds crazy, but I kind of see the vision. Like, when you look out into the crowd, it'll just be like all the spotlight is on them. I saw where she was coming from with that, but Ramsey's was not down for it at all. He also said, well, you know, what do you have in mind, or who do you have in mind for an officiant? She said anybody but a cis heterosexual man. And she said that religion will take backseat in their wedding. And both of them are not the most religious after growing up being extremely religious. I believe he said he was a minister, and a youth minister or something like that. And she grew up in the Mormon faith. He said that his mom would just want to probably pray with him before he walks down the aisle. And you know, she says that as long as it's not at the forefront. They seem to have had a lot of trauma dealing with religion because they just, I don't want to say completely anti, but they just don't want anything to do with that when it comes to their wedding. It seems like they just really have a bad taste in their mouth. Not only did she kind of feel brainwashed by religion, she felt brainwashed being in the military. She doesn't want to uphold the patriarchy anymore. She doesn't necessarily support what the military does in other countries. She's seen it up close and personal, the devastation, and has even been commanded to do things that she still struggles with to this day. And but at the same time, she still supports the troops. She still has people in the military that she loves. So it's hard for her to say, you know, to just throw all of that away. Whereas Ramsey's, he's completely anti-military. They really get into a back and forth about, you know, whether people know what they're signing up for when they are getting into the military. And personally, I feel like, I've never been in the military, but I do know that when they do seek out these young kids who are 18 years old, they don't know what they're signing up for. And a lot of times the kids are poor, they don't have money, and the military offers them, you know, an education and, you know, being able to create a career out of this as a way of pulling them into the military. And I can't say that it's 100% terrible or it's 100% bad, because a lot of people, the military has changed their life for the better. It made the trajectory of their life go than what it would have been had they not done it. So you can't say that it's just 100% evil, but I do see where he's coming from. I just think he was being very judgmental towards her, and knowing that she's been completely enmeshed in the military from a young child up until a couple of years ago, he could have had, I don't know, I just feel like he didn't have to be so judgmental and condescending, because the whole point of their relationship was that they could be honest and open with each other. She says she doesn't regret joining the military, and he says that pretty much it'll be a deal breaker if she ever goes back. He could not morally see himself being with someone who was in the military, and that is too big of a deal breaker, because it seems like she has a possibility that she might go back if she needs to, and that will be the end of y'all relationship. So I personally, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work out between these two based off that conversation alone. And I don't know how either one of them don't see that as a huge red flag. Like, y'all, even if y'all agree in every other area, that particular area is one of those areas like kids, religion, politics, that will tear y'all relationship apart. And it's like they weren't handling it with that same gravity. I didn't understand it. So then we have Alex and Tim. So we're picking up with them after that fight they just had, and her hugging Tim and Tim just looking off in the distance, just extremely checked out. The next time we saw them, I guess they didn't stay together that night either, because he came back over so they could have a conversation about everything. I don't want to make it seem like Tim is this innocent angel and like he did not play a role in that conversation going out of control. I'm not saying that at all, but I do feel like Alex already said that she had a bad temper, and just her putting her hand over his mouth, I feel like something she did was completely out of line and completely crossed all boundaries. And so that is what needed to be addressed in this situation. Like, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone that did that either. And I don't know. There were a couple of people trying to defend what she was doing or trying to overlook what she did. And no, like, that was, if a man did that to a woman, we would not be saying that. Even she wasn't even defending what she did. She knew she was wrong. And she said she didn't understand the extent of the repercussions of that argument until she heard his side of it and she understood that she was completely wrong. And it's like, girl, why did it take that long for you to see that? I'm sorry. She really does give spoiled brat. So he's willing to give the relationship another chance because he feels she finally understands where he was coming from with it, and because of that, he'll continue. Why do I feel like they gave him a bonus check to continue on in this experiment? I'm not saying he doesn't care about her, he doesn't like her, but to make him come back that easy, I really do feel like he had some sort of incentive, and especially after hearing Clay got a bonus to continue in his relationship with AD until the altar. Let's not act like the producers are above that. They end up going ATV riding, even though that's something that he didn't want to do. He did it for her, so that shows his commitment. They ended up driving a car over this bridge was really high up, and it was kind of like a trust exercise for both of them. At the end of it, he promised to come back to the room to finish out the vacation, and they were putting on a good front of going through the motions, but I feel like, especially on his end, the energy was just completely lacking. And a lot of y'all feel like she's not attracted to him. I kind of feel the same way. I'm like, Alex, do you just want to get married? Are you just ready to be wifed up and ready to have kids and start this next part of your life? Because I don't know that she's truly in love with him either. So later on, when all the couples met back up with each other, she was dishing to her little homegirls and was saying like, yeah, girl, he was about to leave and I didn't even have his phone number or nothing. I thought it was really finna be over. Like, I think him leaving really did do the trick. It kind of had her shook. She thought she was gonna be playing these little kitty games with him, and it just was not happening that way. Yeah, that's pretty much it for them, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about them down below. I would love to hear y'all's opinion on them specifically. So next, let's finally talk about Monica and Steven. So when we first see them, she is on his head about not buying her flowers. He promised to, do things like that for her in the pods, and she felt like he has not been on his P's and Q's doing that. And essentially, she said her love language is getting gifts. I guess he didn't realize how soon she would be looking for these gifts. It's hard for me to talk about this couple because Monica is doing 3 much. She ain't even doing too much. She doing 3 much. I'm not all the way sold on Steven either. So it's like, I want to call out her behavior, bossing him around and ordering him to do things, because that's definitely the way it's coming off. But at the same time, Steven, I'm just like, we know something ain't right about him either. Like, he's giving us several red flags. So I'm just like looking at them like, I can't even, like, what am I supposed to say? Anyway, she wants the expensive bags. He was talking about Kate Spade. And then she was like, well, I prefer YSL or Louis Vuitton. And he claims he has never heard of those two. I'm sorry. You might not have heard of YSL, but you've heard of Louis Vuitton, sir. Stop it. He claims that growing up, that, he didn't grow up with money, so they didn't really have much for gifts. And even now, he doesn't receive many gifts. She says she refuses to let his financial upbringing come between her and these gifts. I cannot. The man sound like he don't have the money to do it. I feel like he was trying to say that without saying it. and being embarrassed on TV. I understand wanting to be treated special and wanting to be given gift. I get that, but all the whining and complaining was getting on my last nerve with her. So then, after that conversation, he starts bringing up the fact that he's having second thoughts about marriage because it's a huge commitment. And she rightfully so said, that is something you should have thought of before you proposed to me. And I'm not even mad at her for snapping on him about that, because it's like, oh no, don't even start that. But maybe he's feeling that way because her personality is very overbearing. And maybe that's making him have second thoughts. You know, she was mad that he talks over her and wouldn't give her a chance to talk, but you're constantly poking and nitpicking this man. So then when they meet up with all the couples, at some point they start shooting fireworks, and I wouldn't even say all the couples are together out there holding hands and kissing under the fireworks. They were out there, but a lot of people weren't like booed up watching it. They were just, mingling. She got so in her feelings that he didn't come out there and watch the fireworks with her, and that he was in there instead having a conversation with Garrett. They were having a serious conversation. He didn't feel right ending the conversation in the middle to just jump up and go see the fireworks. But she didn't really even give him the chance to explain, because when she came inside, she was being very passive aggressive about it. She really likes for him to grovel and kiss up and, kiss the ring. So then all of a sudden he starts talking crazy. He starts talking the way Tyler was when Tyler said, you never know who's going to come out of the woodwork when this airs, and people might have something bad to say about me, but you know me. Then he starts saying how women are going to be all in his DMs, just trying to sleep with him just for the clout. Almost like bragging about it or happy about it. The way he was saying it wasn't like he was against it, right? Or like he was just gonna turn off his DMs or turn all these women away. He was just saying it like almost excited, like he can't wait. Once again, she's like, I can't with this conversation. She gets up and walks away, but it's like, girl, this man didn't hide nothing from you. He told you that he was a cheater. You was okay with that, and you decided to be in a relationship with him anyway. I really don't know what you expected from this situation. You coddled him when he said he cheated. You're like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. Mind you, he continues holding Taylor hostage with this conversation as Monica walks away, and I felt bad for her. Another red flag about him for me was when they finally moved into their apartment and he kept gushing over the apartment. And yes, it was a nice apartment, but it wasn't nothing too crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it had a nice view, decorated nice and everything, but he was gushing over it and he couldn't stop gushing over it. Like, he was just going crazy over every little thing, and I was just like, you really act like you ain't been nowhere. I would be concerned that he would want to start living the nice life off of her salary, because clearly he doesn't make what she does. But anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think about all this down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.